The night he defied me, rain was falling hard enough to erase the world. I watched from the window as my son stood at the gate, drenched, clutching that black umbrella like it meant something. He begged me to unlock the door. I didn't. I told him if he crossed that line, if he went to her funeral, he'd no longer be my son. He went anyway. I remember his face when I said it, the disbelief, the anger, the quiet rebellion brewing behind his eyes. He didn't yell, he just looked at me, like he finally saw the stranger I'd become. But he didn't know the truth. He didn't know what that girl did. He didn't know what I'd done to her. She entered our lives like a whisper, polite, charming, soft-spoken. I'd never seen my son smile like that before. She made him glow. And I wanted to believe she was good for him. I wanted to believe she wasn't like the rest. But people always show you who they are, eventually. It started with little things, distance, secrets, late-night phone calls he'd end when I entered the room. Then the money began to disappear from my accounts. At first I thought he was just careless. Then I saw the receipts, the loans, the wire transfers, all in her name. She had him wrapped around her finger, using his innocence, his trust, his love. She wasn't just toxic, she was a parasite. I confronted her once, quietly, in my study. She sat across from me, that sickly sweet smile on her face, pretending not to understand why I was angry. "You think I'm after your money?" she asked. I didn't answer. I just watched her, the way she crossed her legs, confident, knowing she already had him. "You're afraid of losing him," she said. "You should be, because he's already gone." That's when I decided she wouldn't win. When she overdosed 2 months later, everyone called it tragedy. I called it timing. I had warned her, in my own way, that some things aren't meant to be touched. She ignored me. She thought she could keep playing games, that I wouldn't strike back. People assume revenge comes in fire and fury. Mine came in silence. I cut her off from my son's accounts. I made a few phone calls to the loan officer she'd lied to. And when the police came asking about her sudden financial stress, I let them believe what they wanted, that she couldn't handle the pressure, that she broke under her own greed. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Either way, she was gone. And I thought I'd saved him. But grief has a way of turning victims into enemies. After she died, my son wasn't the same. He looked at me like I'd buried her myself. He started sleeping in his car, stopped answering my calls. I thought it was just grief. Then I found the note she left behind, folded in his drawer, addressed to him. It wasn't a suicide note, it was a warning. She told him everything, the money, the manipulation, me, how I'd cornered her, how I'd threatened her, how she feared what I might do. That was the moment he stopped being my son. He started digging, asking questions, reaching out to people I'd silenced years ago. He thought he was exposing me, but all he did was walk into the fire I lit. The night of her funeral, I watched him walk away, black suit, trembling hands, that same defiant look she once wore. I knew where he was going. I knew what he'd find there, because I left it for him. A letter, hidden under her casket bouquet, my handwriting, my truth. I told him everything, the manipulation, the lies, how I'd discovered she'd been pregnant, and how she planned to trap him with a child that wasn't his. I told him I confronted her, that I didn't kill her, but I didn't stop her either. It was all there, signed and sealed. I wanted him to understand why I did it, why I had to protect him from her poison. But he didn't understand. He called it control. He called it cruelty. He came back that night screaming at the gate, calling me a murderer. He hit the door over and over until his knuckles bled. Then he left for good. It's been 3 years. He never came back. But I see him sometimes, on the news, leading those charity campaigns in her name. Her name. He carries her photo in his speeches like a saint, like she was ever innocent. They call him a man of compassion. They call me heartless. Maybe they're right. Maybe I went too far trying to save him from her. Or maybe, just maybe, I saved him the only way I knew how, by becoming the monster he needed me to be. And if he ever comes back, I'll tell him the truth he refuses to hear. That love makes fools of us all. And sometimes, the only way to protect someone is to destroy what they love most.